has significant items here in their chart at 21 degrees in Libra, really significant. This Libran energy at 21, there was an eclipse that occurred here in 2023 at 21 degrees in Libra. Yes, welcome. This is G, and we're looking at the chart for October 7th. It is the week of October 7th. So October 7th and the following 5 days. We got Black Moon Lilith, we got Jupiter, Mercury, Uranus, and we got Venus over there hiding out. This is a big week. We got a lot to talk about. We got Jupiter, actually, who's highlighted here. And we got Jupiter over here in the red. Because this week starts off the Jupiter retrograde. So Jupiter is in a retrograde, and there is a separate video for that. If you haven't seen that, I will link it below. You want to watch it so you find out where it happens in your chart, where it happens in your life, what are the degrees, the sign that it's in, and what will it mean for you. That video will help you figure that out. I'll make a quick mention of it here because here it is. Look, there's Jupiter at 21 degrees. And so this week, Jupiter begins its retrograde, and it does begin at 21. So it's a Jupiter retrograde at 21 degrees, and it happens right there in Gemini energy. You know, there's a lot of history here, lots of history, and a lot of that history is coming back. And if you look closely at Mars for this week, we got Mars at 18 in Cancer. So as Mars travels, it doesn't travel too far, 3-4 degrees, right? 4 or 5 degrees. I think Mars gets to about 21 degrees this week. That's where Mars stops. So by Monday, it'll be there. Won't stop, but that's just as far as it's going to get in this time, in the 7-day time. And why does that matter? Well, because over here in Libra, the other cardinal sign across the way, there's a lot of planets here. We got the Sun, we got Mercury, we got Juno, we got Black Moon Lilith. So there's a lot of action over here, and it's all in this second decan. Sure, the sun's at 15 here for right now, but as this week moves on, 1 degree a day, that means at 7 days' time, 15 plus 7 is 22 degrees. That means the sun will sit, by Monday, we'll have the sun sitting here at 22 degrees. 22 degrees is going to matter because it's conjunct the 21 degree point. And I'm going to talk a little about that and why that matters, especially in the sign of Libra. All right. So before we get there, let's back up a little bit and spend a little bit more time talking about Jupiter at the 21 degrees. It begins its retrograde. That is on the 9th. On the 9th. All right. So to start the week off, you've got all that stuff loaded over there in the cardinal energy. Libra, which is partnerships. It's equality. It's fair. What is fair? What isn't fair? Relationships, personal and professional. All right. Black Moon Lilith is in that sign. This can be tricky. And I will confirm it is tricky because there's a lot going on. Okay. The other thing is we're going to talk about Venus. We're going to get there. Venus is going to be facing some trine energy from Mars. We talked about that in the previous video. Venus and Mars are trining strongly this entire week. Venus moves just a little bit faster than Mars, just a little bit faster, but they're roughly trining all week long. So again, when Venus and Mars get together, they're like this. They're physically bonding. They're emotionally bonding. It's like, let's be together and let's see what we can work on. Like, what are our shared values? Remember that Scorpio energy? We're talking. We're also going over some things. We're talking about the past. There's some history. And maybe in Scorpio, it's not so much about a communication as it is a resonating feeling, a deep understanding, but it's an energetic bond over our shared values. Like, that's the Scorpio stuff. So that's how we kick the week off. Like, that's the story that's in the background, and it's pretty much stays with us for the week because this Jupiter energy, which is about our beliefs about my future. Jupiter represents our freedoms as well. It is judgments, the judicial system. It is judges and courtrooms, right? It is like I'm before a judge and what's the ruling? Like that's that energy. And what's fascinating about the retrograde and it beginning on the 9th, is it begins its retrograde at the Jupiter degree, 21 degrees. Beliefs and freedoms. My beliefs about the future of religion, the future of my spirituality, the future of my freedoms, philosophy on life. This is also publishing, right? It's like where we feel like we know the truth. It's the sign of the searcher. Jupiter can be all about wisdom. I have this wisdom because I've been the world traveler, so I know a lot. I've immersed myself in different belief systems, different cultures, different religions. I don't have to believe them all, but I have looked and been part of it and experienced it. And so there's something there about an honoring of all those, because especially here in the States, like that's supposedly what our country is supposed to be about, a freedom of religion, right? Meaning you choose the religion, you have that right? There's not going to be one that there can only be one and it wins the game. No. That's not what it's about. And that's not what Jupiter is about. It is more about the all-encompassing, the whole, the unity, the oneness, the everyone and everything. Like that's a really high expression of that beautiful Jupiter energy. Gemini energy. My beliefs combined with my thoughts, the way I think, relate, and communicate. Gemini. How am I talking? What am I talking about? It can be super confident energy. Remember, 21 degrees. Going over the details, going over things I said, text messages, emails, snail mails, phone calls, phone logs, just anything I have, any sort of documents, business, details of the business, because this is the sign of the merchant, right? It's Gemini energy. It's the statistics, the data, the merchant, stock market as well. Jupiter going backwards, going over some things that it went over before. And this is the markets, real estate, the housing market, the stock market. So that Gemini energy with that Jupiter there, there might be some interesting conversations and communications and social media and transportation, the future of transportation, the future of local transportation, the future of flight, like long distances and journeys going over the ocean, got to be on an airplane, sort of traveling. I think I say communication. It's both traveling and communication, but long distance. This is the airplaning, flying up in the air, traveling far. Whereas Gemini is just a short travel, my local neighborhood, the local businesses, schools and teachers and peers, right? Neighbors online, neighbors across the yard, classmates, coworkers, like that's all that Gemini stuff. Very busy. I love to learn. So that just gives you a little bit of a deeper dive there. Now we go to Mercury. Mercury and Uranus are going to be a big deal this week. Mercury is in Libra. There it is. We got the little Mercury hanging out there at 21 to start the week off. It moves pretty fast. Mercury's going to go this week all the way through the sign of Libra. It's going to touch on 29 degrees. And by the 13th, Mercury has entered 0 degrees of Scorpio. So that means on the 12th, that Mercury is at 29 degrees in Libra. Partnerships, significant one-on-one partnerships. Mercury is communication and talking. What are we talking about? Who are we talking to? People that are important. Can be business for sure. Business partnerships are going to be strong because Mercury is business partnerships and Libra can be one-on-one, significant one-on-one partnerships, personal or professional. Now, let's back this up and take a look. We got a lot of red here. See all this red? Because Libra is all cardinal. So as Mercury and the Sun and Juno, as they travel through Libra energy, Mars is slowly traveling through Cancer. Again, Mars goes from 18 to 21 degrees this week, which means Mercury and the Sun will square Mars. And that can create combative communications when it's Mercury squaring Mars. Not so much the Sun. The Sun is more or less an authority figure, somebody in charge. So Mars having to take orders from someone in charge. Sun is the boss. Sun is, this is my dad. This is the person who is the boss of me. Like that is Sun energy. Mars is not a boss of anybody. Mars's job is to be the soldier, and its job is to be the boss of itself, to teach itself, to have control over itself. That's Mars's job, right? It's very young energy, very young. In Cancer energy, this is the emotions, this is family, this is feelings. Mars can be a surgeon. Mars can be a surgeon because it's born for war, carries a knife, can be a surgeon. And with the Cancer energy, we think women's issues, we think, reproductive rights, women either having abortions or not able to have abortions, whether they're life-saving abortions or not, right? Like that's where we're at here now in the States. So the stress and the tension is all that red line stuff that you see. So all the stuff in Cancer, all the stuff, the Sun and Mercury squaring up with Mars, combative communications, stress and tensions, emotions and family, mom, the mother wound, significant one-on-one relationships, possibly boss energy. But Libra, where's the equality? Where's the fairness? And absolutely women and their rights. When you talk about Mars and Cancer squaring the Libran energy. And what about the law? Lady Liberty and the scales of frickin' justice. That's supposed to be Libra energy. Yeah. Remember I said about the Jupiter retrograde, 21 degrees. Well, over here in Libra, the big angle, Mars at the 21 where it's at, Jupiter starting its retrograde. Judges, Jupiter, keep that in mind. The Sun and Mercury trining Jupiter. Jupiter's another authority figure. We back it up, we take a peek. All right, Jupiter trining, and Jupiter sitting there for this whole week because it's a slower planet. So it's sitting at 21. But in a retrograde, justice, lawyers, the law, judges, a big deal. A big deal, and in the news because Mercury super strong here. In an individual's chart who's in the United States has significant items here in their chart at 21 degrees in Libra, really significant. This Libran energy at 21, there was an eclipse that occurred here in 2023 at 21 degrees in Libra, the courtrooms and the law, the justice system, right? So this is not a story that's ending. This is this Jupiter showing up and continuing this saga, all right? Continuing this saga. As this week goes along, we're then going to go to Uranus and Mercury, all right? Because right here on this chart, we got Uranus and Mercury kind of together down here on the 10th. 10-10 and 10-11, and it actually goes 10-10, 10-11, and even 10-12 and 10-13, where Mercury and Uranus are in a strong opposition. You see the black line I got right there? It's got a red and black line, I believe. I'll go like that because I think it was purple at one point and I went over it. But there it is. We're going to highlight that with that red, the purple, and the black. That is to represent Mercury. So on those dates, 10-10, 10-11, 10-12, because Mercury moves fast, it's going to be in a very strong opposition with Uranus and Algo. And this can be super difficult for anybody who's got anything in the fixed signs of Leo and Aquarius at 26 degrees. 24, 25, 26 degrees. This can be harsh because Uranus is shocks and surprises within my values, my love, my desire, my money, banks, my banking, digital money, Uranus. We think of all the digital platforms, social media, even technology, inventions, Uranus, somebody in charge, even. I know back in August near the end, Elon Musk, what government, what country was that? Brazil was like, we're shutting that shit down. We're not, I don't know what the details were, but so that's just an example. And ooh, that's difficult, right? And I would imagine it can be difficult as far as if you're counting on income, right? Counting on income and ads in a certain market share, and you no longer have that. That could be a problem. So the stress and the tension, 26 degrees, is going to be for anybody who's got stuff over there in their Leo energy. And I know someone that does, not personally, but a person who's quite prominent public figure has their natal Mars at 26 degrees, 26 degrees in Leo energy. This person's been in the news. This person's always in the news. It seems as though this person will do and say anything to stay in the news, as though the news is um, somehow the the end of all their goals and aspirations. As long as I'm in the news, that's all that matters. Okay, well, this person's definitely in the news, and it looks like that's like their dying last wish, to just be in the news at any and all cost. So Leo energy and Aquarius. If you got anything in your chart at 24, 25, 26 in Aquarius, this can be difficult. This can be this big T square coming across here like this, and create this big, difficult stress and tension, because it's from Algo and Uranus, the shocks and the surprise from authority figures and disruptions. Uranus, major, major disruptions. Algo is normally considered to increase one's desires. And the thing about that is, when we don't have control of our desires, like our desires control us, is negative. It ends up being negative. It ends up kind of just an ending that you weren't striving for. It ends up being an undesirable situation full of surprises and sudden changes. So it can be a sudden change of values, even. This also makes me think of, like security within certain tech platforms and digital dollars, digital money, crypto, and whatever. So this energy can also be the shocks and the surprises and the news. So the way I'm communicating, right? I know I've been going through this with my mother. The way we've been communicating, sometimes it's been shocking and surprising in different ways. Some can be okay, and some can be not okay. Like, okay, I can't do this anymore type of shit, where I just, yeah, this is enough. And even times where it's like, okay, I'm going to have to call you back, like literally lost for words, don't know what else to say. I will call you back. And that's all you can say, because there's a breakdown in the communication somewhere, like the disruption, the thing that happens, whatever it is, there's just like this breakdown, and you have to kind of step back and be willing to try something different and new, whether that's a different approach, a different way of communicating, or literally a different device. Like she was having problems with charging her phone, or the phone ringing. Oh my God, it was a nightmare. Anyway, like the phone not ringing, not getting through, just communication hell in a lot of different ways. Hearing aids, like just every little thing, every little damn thing. So disruptions, bottom line, disruptions. And when disruptions in communications and technology go down, oh my God, it can be such a nightmare. Not to mention if you have money somehow tied up in all of that, right? And if something happens with your values and bank accounts, and oh my God, then it could be devastating, right? And so we don't want to go there, right? However, Venus does aspect Uranus this week, right? Venus is over here in in Scorpio energy. So remember, Venus and Mars are together this week. They're like this power couple this week. Because they're the power couple and she's in Scorpio, this little Venus right here, yeah, all of a sudden she's kind of powerful because she's with Scorpio and she's receiving a trine. Now, because Venus usually is beneficial, usually likes to bring gifts, usually is all about being fair and harmonious and peaceful, some of you, this might not be as big of a deal. But Venus isn't as peaceful and as harmonious when she's in Scorpio. And she's also empowered by Mars because Mars is trining her. So there's like this team mentality where it's like, we're going to battle together, damn it. You see? So I do believe that from 17 degrees, because that's where Venus begins this week. So pay attention, fixed signs, Leo and Aquarius, between 17 degrees, let me check my Venus out, and 25, 26, between 17 and 26, that's like 9 degrees, right? Yep, 9 degrees in Aquarius energy and Leo. You're getting square, which is stress and tension from Venus, who is there to fight for what is important to her. You see? So I'm going to draw some of these red lines in so you guys can see that for people who might have things in their Leo energy and in Aquarius energy. You got Venus and Scorpio. Remember vulnerabilities and wounds. And yeah, I got Venus here again. She's got her cape on, right? She's there to do battle. So stress and tension. Now, for the dates on that, I believe I have written down the 10th to the 15th. For some of you who are really sensitive, yep, you're feeling it sooner. The other thing too is that with Venus, when we get to the end of this week, she ends up being in a very strong opposition with, guess who? Uranus. My values and your values with Uranus, someone in charge. Uranus is the boss. So Venus is like taking orders at this point in time. Venus is going to be the money and the values. This can be insurance money. Okay. This can be wounds. This can be my vulnerabilities. And Uranus energy, like the one in charge, the boss and the banking, we think of, whoever's in charge of the money, whoever calls the shots. This can be tricky because it's Uranus conjunct Algo. So this week is uncomfortable, even though Venus is trining Mars, right? So we're kind of like this, like I said, the power couple. Well, now when it comes to the opposition to Uranus, that power couple, Mars is at 21. Well, Mars power couple kind of disappears after after what do I have down there? The 15th. That Mars energy dissipates. Venus is no longer receiving that trine from Mars. This power couple trine thing going on between Venus and Mars is over. So it starts off this week where they're trining strong because Venus is at 17. But by the 10th, so that's 3 days from the 7th to the 10th. And if you want to stretch it, maybe the 11th, maybe. But Venus gets to 21, 22 by then, and Mars is just sitting still at 20. So Venus will then be taking orders from Uranus. The opposition is like a push-pull, a tug of war. But Venus, if she's smart, she understands that Uranus has more power than her. And she says, okay. Doesn't mean we have to completely give up the battle. It just means that you're receiving orders, Venus, because, well, you're in Scorpio energy and you're kind of receiving orders. So we kind of got to just keep that in mind. Okay. So the 13th, as a reminder one more time, that is when Mercury enters Scorpio. So then we have Mercury and Venus and Scorpio together. All right. Now, the bigger story, the backstory, which is the bigger story in this chart, if you can believe that, is Black Moon Lilith. Let me get her a little bit bigger here, and let's focus on over here. While all that's going on, this Lilith is at 26 here. You can already see it right there. She's at 26. She goes to 29, okay? She goes to 29, and that's a critical degree, and then she starts to retrograde. All right, so she hits 29 degrees and begins her retrograde October 10th, Wednesday and Thursday, that is. That's powerful. That's in significant one-on-one relationships. All right. And her and Mercury will be conjunct. Well, they will be conjunct, and it's an uncomfortable conjunction because it's at the same time, a quincunx with Uranus and Algo. So it's definitely disruptions within partnerships, business partnerships for sure, social media, online, technology, major disruptions there. All right. So there's partnerships highlighted here. I'm thinking courtroom energy and lawyers too is really big, and judges coming in and kind of having a say in a way where it's a finality. Like, no more games here. There's enough of this crap going on. Remember, because it is Uranus conjunct Algo while Jupiter is retrograding. That's the backstory. Jupiter's doing a retrograde at that 21 degrees. You see? And Algo with Uranus is quite serious, disruptive, and can bring surprises. Okay? There's a lot of stress and tension, yet at the same time, there's some trines that can bring some ease. In the water energy with Mars and Venus, there's oppositions, like the tug of war going on. And in case anyone's not sure what's going on with Pluto, real quick, because this is the ruler of Scorpio energy, corporations and businesses and government, retrograding at 29 in Capricorn. All right? You got questions, you comment below, you let me know what you need to know, and I will see you in the next video. And remember, I always appreciate your time. Till then, bye-bye.